What's up, everybody? So today I want to talk about the book slash movie The Secret. Okay, I saw The Secret in a movie for the first time in 2007, and it rocked me. I mean, this movie has had more of a significant impact on my life by far than anything I've ever seen. I mean, it literally overnight changed my entire view of reality. It shaped my future, and my life would honestly not be the same at all, for better or worse, without it. So I really want to talk about this. It's been now 11 years. I feel like I could speak on this book and talk about some really significant things that happened in my life, like really significant things that happened just from the knowledge of what this book slash movie provided. I also want to talk about some reasons why, for instance, Wayne Dyer decided, he was asked to do the movie and said, "No, I'm good. I think you're missing something there." And finally, I want to address a giant elephant in the room that pretty much everybody that I know that's seen this has completely overlooked, and I think it really, really needs to have attention drawn to it. And finally, I want to mention what the secret of the secrets. So the secret is the actual secret. All right, so first of all, this book came out in 2006, I believe. Rhonda Byrne, she wrote it and then made a movie about it. It was real popular. It was pretty much the moving piece of the New Age movement, I would say. And so basically what the secret was is she comes out and says, I read something that was so impactful to me, and everybody should know this. She points out that all the great people in history have known this secret. Einstein, Galileo, I forget all the names, but basically Leonardo da Vinci. Everybody that you know in the past that's famous has known this secret and has applied it. So hey, that's eye-catching. And then she, so basically here it is. The secret is the law of attraction, right? So that's what this is about. The movie's about the law of attraction. The book was about the law of attraction. And thoughts create things. Thoughts are things. And when you think about something in your mind, you can create it in your own life, right? What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve, right? And so that's really pivotal, because a lot of people walk through life thinking that life just happens and that it's like how you react to it, and they might be missing the fact that you yourself are the projector, right? And you're the projector, and life is the projector screen. And so what you think about, your belief systems, your actual thought images, are what you will attract and see in the physical reality. And so there's a whole series of people that come on. Bob Proctor, the first one, the guy who could probably break down the law of attraction better than anybody on the face of the earth. You have some Reverend Michael Beckwith, who talks about his relationship to it, and a whole series of different people who say, look, I know this secret, this is how I've applied it, and this is what comes in my life. And I mean, really powerful. When you really understand that what you think about is what you're getting. It transforms the whole world into a world of responsibility, because if you can change the thoughts, then you can change the reality. So I want to give a couple examples of this. Just taking this, this hit me like a lightning bolt when I saw it. I've watched it like 12 times, but the first time, right day one, boom, it just changed my life. At the time I was teaching martial arts. I was an apprentice at a dojo, and I decided from that, okay, well, if I can create anything, I want to have my own studio, right? And within, so I would think about it, I would imagine it, I would picture myself, and I didn't know where it was going to be yet. And then the way it works is like one day I'm just driving by, and all of a sudden it just hits me. It's like, boom, I just drive to this martial arts studio. I walk in and say, hey, I want to buy your martial arts studio. I mean, I don't even know what came over me. I was an actor in my own life at that point, just following the motions of what I had already created with my mind. And for some reason, it just happened to be for sale. These studios are never for sale. And I asked for a price, I said how much, told me, It was, just shy of 6 figures, and I said, no problem, right? I'll see you in 2 months with a check. Now, at that time, I had like $5, and I had no prospects for getting that kind of cash. I'd never seen that kind of money. I was like 24, but I had this belief system that, what I think, I can create. So I walked away saying, okay, no problem. And it didn't even cross my mind. I was so convinced that I would not be able to find the money or come up with the money. And so, 2 days later, I'm sitting there teaching at this dojo in Mira Mesa, and somebody knocks on my door. Oh, hey, it's an old friend I used to train with. And the words out of his mouth were, I can't believe you're still teaching. That's so great. You should have your own studio. If you ever need an investor, I'm your man. Dude, it gives me 25 grand. Boom. Okay. Later on that same day, one of my students came in with his 2 sons, amazing family, and they said, Dad, what's it going to take for me to be a black belt? He said, it's going to take a lot of hard work and time. And a light bulb went off in my head. Right? The light bulb would not gone off in my head had I not been creating this, knowing that it's coming, expecting it, and just keeping my eyes open for that opportunity. So I sat down with the dad and said, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. Here's my offer. I'd like to teach your kids for 4 years, and in exchange, I need this amount of money, and I'll pay that back and teach your kids in the meantime. And so like 2 days later, there's a check. I go back to the studio owner and say, hey, I got like 70% of the money. She said, I thought that might happen. I can finance the rest. Here's a check. And within like a week, I had almost $100,000. I had my own studio now, and I had my dream. I mean, that would not have happened without having seen the movie The Secret and applied the thoughts. Really just conditioning my brain to the reality that I wanted to see. I also want to call myself out on this because, I've created a lot of things applying The Secret. I'm going to give another example. I once wanted to win a car, right? And so I was so sure I was just going to win a car. Like, no reason why. I decided to go with that one. And so I'm winning a car. I'm winning a car all day long. Yay, I win a car. Well, one day I was in a raffle. I did a raffle and for a car, and was just so sure I won this thing. I mean, like, not like I hope I win, but like I know I won. And I was driving home with a friend, and I was telling him about it. I'm like, look, I know I just won a car. Like, I don't know how to tell you this, but like that raffle ticket, I just won a car. And he's like, what? Get out of here. Like 2 seconds later, I get a phone call from another one of our mutual friends out of the blue from another state. And he goes, Robert Bush, guess what? You just won a new car. And he says it like it's The Price is Right. And my friend is freaking out in the passenger seat. He's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, what's happening? And I'm like, I'm telling you, bro, I won a car. Well, sure enough, I did not win a car on that raffle. However, a couple of years later, someone decided to take me to The Price is Right. I go on The Price is Right, and long story short, the exact voice from the actual Price is Right guy, not my friend this time, was announcing that, Robert Bush, you just won on a new car. And I just knew it. Like, if you watch that video, you know that I won that car. Like, there is no doubt that I'm walking out with that car. And so that's just a couple examples of applying The Secret and applying the knowledge. But I want to make sure I call myself out too, because there's a big reason why Wayne Dyer did not make the movie The Secret. He didn't want to be part of it. He wasn't saying it's wrong, but he said something was missing. And what was missing is that you get what you think about, but what you really get is a reflection of who you are. Like attracts like. So not only are your thoughts creating the reality, but you're also always going to get who you really are as well. You're going to get all those belief systems, and you might not like the dirty that lies underneath your belief systems when you really go for your dreams. And that's why I think so many people fall short when they go to do the dreams, is because that part of them, that part of their childhood, whatever it is that shows up, is gonna show up, and it's gonna show up magnified. In the case of my martial arts studio, everything was great for a few years until my limiting belief systems that were on the underside, the ones I couldn't really access quite yet, showed up. And I ended up losing friends over that. I ended up hurting people, and just from not being able to fully fulfill on my commitments at the very end. And so I ended up leaving those people that provide that awesome opportunity with a really sour taste in their mouth and a debt, right? That I wasn't fully able to really be able to fulfill on, because I wasn't ready for that kind of commitment. My thoughts were there, I could create it, but the idea of being fulfilled, completing, and making sure everybody left the table, there was some still limiting belief systems about myself that ended up leaving with that end result. So although I'm super stoked about having won it, and the car, for instance, there's some things that went on afterwards that, like, I didn't end up getting everything I wanted. I got, it worked out well, I did get a lot of money, but some things happened in my life at the exact same time that did not leave me with the feeling of completing it and having what I truly wanted. So I took a lot of work to get through that, and that's a whole nother conversation. So I just want to add that side note. Before you go out and creating everything, make sure you're able to hold on to the responsibility of what you create. I'm still making sure, I'm still having to now go back and make sure that those people are not left with that sour taste in their mouth, and that I fulfill on that. And that's hard to do. That's the hard part. To me now, the thinking and creating anything I want is easy. I'll create an airplane, falling in my front yard. That's the easy part. Making sure you can fly that thing properly and keep all the passengers safe once you get your airplane. That's the hard part, and that's the self-development work. So I want to point that out. Anything's possible. The universe doesn't care if you want $1 million or $1. You're already getting everything you're thinking about anyways. You just don't realize it. It's just the way it is. You're already attracting everything you believe about yourself. So I would be remiss if I didn't call myself out and mentioning the responsibility part of what you create. And also sometimes, to get to that mindset of having it, to doing it, you get so focused in on it that you got to make sure you keep focus on all of your priorities in life, all the people in your life. Make sure that you're not using people to get what you want, all of that. So there's a lot of, it's cliche, but great power comes great responsibility. But yes, in fact, you can have and do anything you want in this world. So that was amazing. Wayne Dyer, really, man, love that guy. The late Wayne Dyer, he didn't want to do it because he said, you create a reflection of who you are. And so the work is not to spend all your time thinking about what you want, but the work is to go in all the time and create the best version of yourself, and then life will naturally attract that back to your life. So my biggest recommendation after 11 years of applying this secret, doing these things, is two things. One, really just focusing on who you are, and then the reflection in the mirror will be respect of that. The other thing is, if you are going to create something, always begin with the end in mind. Like Stephen Covey says, always begin with the end in mind. Let me give a quick example of that. After I got my martial arts studio, then I had new creations, right? I wanted to win the black belt tournament, and so I worked every night. I would race the brown belt, and I'd get a trophy, I'd scratch it out and write black belt on it, and then I just focus in on that. First place, black belt trophy, who cares about the brown belt anymore? So there was this one time I went to a black belt tournament, and I had been envisioning in my mind what I thought was the end result, which was me going down, getting my name called, shaking hands with the head dude, receiving my trophy with all my students there cheering me on, and then that was my manifestation. Well, sure enough, I worked on my form, and I did really well on it, and then they were announcing the winners, and then they announced my name, and in front of, it was in the Brent Event Center, a whole basketball stadium full of people. I come running down, sure enough, just like I created it, all the students are cheering for me. Yay, I hear my name, the big dude calls me, I shake his hand, I get my trophy. Okay, so at this point, my manifestation is complete. But I didn't end with the end result in mind, which is I wanted to go home with that trophy. As I'm backing up to go, they call me back and say, wait, we made a mistake. Actually, we moved you back a spot, and that trophy's somebody else's now. What? Yeah, so I had to go back up, hand the trophy back. They called me back, and they decided they had another. You were in that place, but then we decided somebody else was there instead. Like, my manifestation was so powerful that even though I didn't win that time, I still had to have my manifestation come true, and a board of martial arts masters had to mess up and make a mistake just so my creation could come true. And probably whatever the other guy who had that first place, who pictured himself going home with the trophy, both manifestations come true. So I wanted to share that too. Always begin with the end result in mind, because that's what you really want. Okay, so now I want to mention the big elephant in the room, that if any of you have ever seen the movie, I mean, I saw it 12 times and didn't see this. Like, it didn't even dawn on me. At the beginning of the movie, Rhonda Byrne is saying that she came across some knowledge and she can't believe that nobody knows this. Now, she was talking about the secret being known by Leonardo da Vinci, and we'll just stop there. Like, Leonardo da Vinci in the 15th century knew it. So we know what the knowledge that she's referring to obviously wasn't her own book, and it wasn't Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, which is also a huge, like, the book about thoughts, creating things. Highly recommend it. In fact, don't read Think and Grow Rich. Read his actual book, The Law of Success and 16 Principles. That is the Godfather OG book of Thoughts Create Reality, not Think and Grow Rich. His other book, The Law of Success and 16 Principles. So that's the real work. Earl Nightingale did The Strangest Secret. You'll see a whole flurry. Kevin Trudeau's series, if you really want to get into the subject, Your Wishes, Your Command series, he did that for his MLM. But honestly, man, that the way they did that info and the way he laid that out, call him what you want, Infomercial King nailed it. And like, he brought some other points up that were really, like, probably the best presentation on thoughts or things, and I would highly recommend that. I've also listened to that like 10 times. It's called Your Wishes, Your Command by Kevin Trudeau, and it's really good. Okay, but so let's talk about Leonardo da Vinci. She says Leonardo da Vinci knew the secret. So where did he get this knowledge from? She tells you in the beginning of the movie, and she does it in like, it was like 1 second. All right, and I'm going to show the clip in the comment section of this. I think it's at like 2 minutes in, 2 minutes it's in. You'll see that she actually shows where the basis of all of this knowledge comes from. All of it. It comes from, are you ready for this? The Emerald Tablets. Okay, the Emerald Tablets. They even show the Emerald Tablets for a brief second. And then she shows how they copied the Emerald Tablets, they buried it, the secret was lost, people kept on finding it, but the secret came from the Emerald Tablets. The author, are you ready for this? So, if you're a big fan of The Secret, Think and Grow Rich, all that, I want you to know something that's gonna like make you be like, no, it's not. It is. The Emerald Tablets is accredited to Thoth, the Atlantean. Yep. Hermes Trismegisto himself, as the Greeks called him, the founder of Chem, which is now Egypt, the builder of the pyramids, according to him, the OG is Thoth the Atlantean, who supposedly came from Atlantis after the fall of Atlantis, came back to Egypt, brought him the knowledge, brought him out of the Stone Age, gave him all his knowledge, and then, pops up throughout the earth to deliver this knowledge. So that's not me saying it, okay? That's for another book. That's another book review. But that's what Rhonda Byrne is saying, is that it all came from that. And she doesn't mention it, but she shows that the knowledge came there in a 1 second clip, that it was the Emerald Tablets, and then she shows how the secret got buried, and they never talk about it again for the rest of the movie. And then Bob Proctor comes on talking about the law of attraction, everybody forgets about it. But the Emerald Tablets, so there it is. That's the big elephant in the room nobody talks about, is that she's saying that she got her knowledge, and the original knowledge comes from Thoth the Atlantean. So you can make your own judgments and conclusions on that, but there it is. Okay, so I said I would want to mention the big elephant in the room, which is the Emerald Tablets, is actually the basis for all the other books that we got in the 20th century. But the other thing is, the real secret of secrets is in the word itself, secretion. And that is also for another topic. But the secret is secretion. the secretion that we secrete, it goes through the body that allows for this process to even exist. So we're going to talk about that another day too. But there it is. That's my book review on The Secret. I hope you apply your thoughts. You're doing them all the time. And I also want to mention that I am doing this video from a gym. And the reason why I'm doing it from a gym is for a really important purpose. Thoughts don't just build six-packs, y'all. Thoughts, habits do, right? Good work ethic does. And the thought comes first, that you can envision yourself better than you are. If you can't envision yourself better than you are right now, you're not going to show up to the gym. But if you can create that reality, it should call you into action. It should call you into motion. Look at it right now. It is right now it's 12:57. That's AM. That is in the morning. Okay, I'm fired up on life, and I know that my habits create my reality. The other thing is, Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player on earth, debatedly, said that he practiced more free throw shots and with his eyes closed like this, picturing it go in, than he ever did standing on this free throw line and actually shooting them. So I want you to take that. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player, arguably, of all time, spent more time shooting free throws in his head than he ever did on a basketball court. If that doesn't tell you something, then I don't know what else to say. The thoughts, he pictures it going in. He didn't just picture a bouncing off the rim. No, every time it would go in. And what happens is the neurons in the brain fire the same way as your physical body does when you're practicing. Except in your mind, you can make it go in all day. And so when you actually go pick up that ball, the brain says, I know how to make that shot. I make the shot. The hands will move, everything will move around and adjust so that you become that person that you saw yourself as. So I want to leave you with that. Habits, habits, habits.